Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to do some late winter rose maintenance. I am going to be digging up some roses that I am removing from my garden. I am giving them away to some of our customers. So we got to dig those up. I am taking a rose out of a container and putting it in the place of one of those roses that I am giving away. We're going to fertilize our roses. I still have roses that I need to prune. Very late on doing that. I need to do that. And then we're going to talk about fungicides. And do you need to use a fungicide on your roses to help prevent black spot and powdery mildew? That is a common issue with your roses, especially if you live in a hot and humid environment like I do here in North Carolina, a zone 8A. Our summer weather is extremely hot, extremely humid, even at night, and so my roses can be susceptible to the black spot and the powdery mildew. So we're going to talk about, do you need to use that, how to use it, and so forth. So let me give you a quick little overview of what we're going to do, because first thing I have to do is dig up the roses and prepare them to give them to like I said, the customers that are coming tomorrow to come get them. So we've talked about this before, and I did an in-depth tutorial on how to prune roses. So if you missed that, I will link it and you can go check that out. Here along the pathway going to our patio, I have a whole selection here of David Austin roses. There are 3 separate varieties. They're in groups of 3 because I'm following David Austin because I want them to look like one big massive. So like I said, there's 3 different ones, but there's a total of 9 plants here. I have the Rhubarb doll. I am taking out the other 2 sets of roses, and then I have ordered 6 more Rhubarb dolls from David Austin that will be arriving this month. So that way I have the exact same rose in a huge hedge right here. What we're going to do is we're actually going to be digging up today the Susan Williams Ellis. This is a really pretty white rose. It is a double. I just don't have anywhere to put it, to move it to, so these are the ones that I am giving away. We're gonna dig those up and take those, like I said, preparing for a customer picking up tomorrow. Next door, the ones that I have to prune is, oh my gosh, the Poet's Wife, which is a beautiful soft yellow, smells amazing. Just going to trim her today because here in the next couple of weeks, they're gonna get dug up and moved to that back flower bed. So we will trim that, and then we're going to, the roses that are staying in the ground, we're going to go ahead and fertilize those today. There's no point in fertilizing the Susan Williams Ellis, and really not even the, I don't know. Do I fertilize Poet's Wife? She's gonna get moved in a couple weeks or not? I don't know. I'll figure that out when it's game time. It's a game time decision, my friends. And then the other rose that I am digging up is going to be Brother Codful. Michelle is going to take also Brother Codful. She was here the other week and I was like, hey, since you're getting Susan Williams, do you want Brother Codful? She was like, sure. So Brother Codful is a pink rose, and he's going to get dug up and removed. Michelle's going to take him, and what we're going to put in the place of Brother Codful is Elizabeth. So we're, notice these are like all like people's names. David Austin does that a lot. So they name roses after people and such. So what we're doing, Brother Codful's coming out, and then I have one of their new releases within the last couple of years, Elizabeth. Elizabeth has lived in this unique stone urn since I got her. This would be her, we're going into her 3rd summer. So I've had her for 2 years. Gonna come out, nice branching on it. We're gonna take it out of this container and plant it where Brother Codful is, because when I redesign this bed, I'm eliminating this urn from this flower bed. We'll move it somewhere else. It's just not gonna stay in this flower bed, so we're gonna take it out. Once everybody has been moved, it's like, instead of musical chairs, it's like musical roses. We're just moving everybody around. And can we stop for one moment, please, and appreciate the absolute gorgeous beauty of this Okami cherry tree? I'm in love. I'm telling you, y'all, we have the 3 main flowering cherry trees on our property. We have Okami, the Yoshino, and the Kwanzan. Okami is your earliest bloomer, and I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but y'all, I've got honeybees all over. Let me see if the camera will pick up the sound. This tree is buzzing with the bees. They are loving it just as much, probably more than I am. I mean, y'all, gorgeous. I know the sun is not, it's kind of hard. Jenny's short and the tree is tall. So I'm doing the best I can, but oh my gosh, y'all. Love, love, love this tree. So anyway, side note on that, we will also, like I said, we're going to fertilize those roses that are available, that are in the ground that need to be fertilized. We'll talk about that, how you do it, when you do it, what do you use. And then, like I said, we're going to move on to fungicide. I don't know that I'm going to spray today. We will, but I'm going to talk about it, show you how to do it, the products you need to use. And then also we'll take maybe a quick little tour of some things that are flowering, because we have our first tulip that's flowering in the patio. The Edgeworthia is blooming. Oh my gosh, it smells amazing. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are happening right here in the early March in our North Carolina garden. So first things first, we're going to dig up these roses. And y'all, this is the best way to do it. You're gonna use, you're gonna use a shovel, and you're gonna use your rose gauntlet gloves, because you're gonna have to manhandle these roses some. So we're gonna use those gloves that protect our hands from being stuck by the lovely thorns. When you're moving your roses, the key is try to get as much of the root ball as possible. Just like any other shrub that you're trying to move, you want as many roots as you possibly can. Start out wide and move in. Yes, you're going to break some of those roots. You're gonna hear them popping, they're going to move. Again, try to get as many as you can. What I'm gonna do for the ones that I'm giving away, I have some plastic bags, because today is Friday, it's Friday afternoon. Michelle's coming tomorrow, so it'll be fine, and she's gonna go ahead and plant them directly into her ground. So we're going to just put them in plastic bags. There's no point in trying to like pot them up and use soil, because it's just wasteful. She's gonna plant them tomorrow. So going in plastic bags, put them in a cool, shady area until she gets them. Don't leave them out in the full hot sun. Put them in that shady area. If you need to transplant your shrubs, your roses, it is a great time to do it before they completely leaf out. And so this is a perfect time to do it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna get dirty with the shovel and get these roses moved. All right, my friends, so we got all of the roses dug up. We got the giveaways bagged up. I have already taken them over to the garden center, so they will be there tomorrow. And we got Miss Elizabeth out of the pot, and we got her planted into the ground. Now, y'all, leave it to the queen to be dramatic. The ones in the ground, they came out really relatively quite easy, right? So just get as many roots as you can, shake off that excess dirt, put them in the plastic bags, just put the roots in the plastic bags, kind of sealed them up a little bit so they won't dry out. They're in the cool shade of the barn. Be fine for tomorrow. I go to the container and try to dig Elizabeth out, and oh my word, let me tell you, those roots literally were going down the drain hole. I haven't still gotten all of the soil out yet, but I highlight, like, there was a massive main root going down that drain hole. So yeah, she was the hardest one to get out. Of course, brought her over here to the patio and have gotten her all nice and snugged in to her new home. When you're moving and transplanting your roses, the key with your roses whenever you're planting, and this is just following from David Alston, is that you want to make sure that you bury them kind of nice and deep. So a lot of the roses are grafted, so you want that underneath the soil, right? Got the biotone in there, and I've got it turned because ideally what I want to do with my roses is as they grow and if they get tall, then I can attach them to the trellis. So that's kind of how all three of them are. So I just positioned her so that those canes that were pointing towards the trellis as opposed to pointing out forward. Use the biotone, put that soil back, and then roses love compost. So use the compost with your roses. You can absolutely, when you're planting them, mix some of that in with your native soil, right? And then top dressing. Top dressing is a great way to go. That's what I did. Use that Land and Sea, and then it wasn't even a whole bag. It was a partial bag, maybe half. Dumped it out, spread it all around, and then I watered her in really, really well. And I'll probably hit her again one more time before I'm done for the day, so that way I know that she's nice and saturated. With these transplanted roses, newly planted roses, bare root roses, when you're doing that, if you're not getting rain, make sure that they're getting consistent water. Now, it is early March. Am I going to come out here and water her every day? Absolutely not. I'll drown her. So I want to do this. You just kind of have to gauge it, right? You want the soil moist, but not soaking, sopping wet. And as soon as I start to see that new growth popping out on her, then I know that she's doing good and that she's growing. But really this first year, I just need to keep an extra eye on her because she has been moved. But your roses do love compost. So even if you have the established roses, this is a great time of year to go ahead and top dress with that whatever high quality compost that you like all around those roses. Of course, you could do that in the fall too if you wanted to. Right now might be a little bit easier because they have been pruned, and that way you can kind of get up in there and add that compost to them. Now, speaking of pruning, I am going to go ahead and as quickly as I can, I am going to prune the Poet's Wife. So, because that is it's the one rose literally on my property that I have not pruned yet. And yeah, I'm behind on that one. So we're going to prune it really quickly. Let me just go over there and just show you what she looks like compared to Rhubarb Doll, and then explain what we're doing there as well. So all roses, regardless of what brand type they are, they need to be pruned in late winter going into spring. So here we have the Poet's Wife that you can see is quite tall and unruly and tons of canes in there. She is popping out that new growth. Again, that tells me that I am behind, but you know what? There is grace in gardening, so no worries there. So that's what she looks like as opposed to the Rhubarb Doll that has already been pruned. And so now I know they're different roses, right? So they do have a little bit of a different habit to them, but you can see how much more I've brought this down. I have thinned out those canes, and he too is popping out new growth. So when I pruned it, it did not have any new growth on it. But yeah, so we're just going to do that really quickly. Again, if you want a real tutorial step by step on how to do it, I will link that video. But yeah, so we're going to get Miss Poet's wife, get her pruned, and then we get to start the lovely odorous smell of success process of fertilizing. Then we're talking about fungicide. Three very important things for your roses: pruning, feeding, preventing funguses. There we go, fungi. We're going to take care of it today. All right, my friends, so the Poet's wife has been pruned down, majorly pruned her, and I did that because I am going to be moving her in just a couple of weeks. Once that bed is ready and once my new David Austins arrive, then that's like my cue to move them. Like, they need to be moved now, but I've got to prep the site first. So because I'm moving them, I want to reduce their size as much as possible to reduce the shock when I do move them, right? Because if you're going to transplant a shrub or any kind of plant, when you're moving it and then that plant's trying to get adjusted to its new home, it's got to give life to all of that foliage up top, which I'm thinking, like, long term, I'm thinking I want strong, healthy roots, because that means later on I'm thinking the longevity of the plant, the health of the plant. So by reducing the amount of foliage and just material that the root systems has to take care of, it makes it easier on the plant to support and to adjust and to keep nice and healthy and happy, right? Think of it like when you move, right? You don't want to take all your junk with you when you move. Before you move, you purge. Well, we're purging some of that foliage off of this plant so that it makes the move a little easier and smoother and the transition to go a little bit better. So that way you can see just how much I took it back. When I move these guys into the new flower bed, I'm going to spread them out. I followed David Austins' recommendations on planting by planting 3 of them extremely close together to create that one large shrub look to it. But once I move them, I am going to spread them out, and they will not be this close because I want to fill in a space, and there you go. Now, when you're pruning, you're looking for reducing the size, right? Bringing it back, strong, healthy canes. Look how nice and beautiful and green they are, right? You can see how just lovely and green. If you have dead canes, which I can almost guarantee you're going to have, you're going to notice a visible color difference. See, that is brown. She is deader than dead, as opposed to the lovely, healthy green. So the dead stuff is going to make itself really obvious, especially this time of year, when the plant is putting energy back into itself, and you're going to see lots of color difference between the healthy and the dead. So there we go. All right, let's talk about fertilizing. All right, y'all, you got to feed your plants, especially those plants that are producing tons of flowers like roses. They need food. Food equals flowers. I want you to think of it that way. We know that we need to feed our annuals, our flowering annuals. Well, the shrubs that produce these massive amounts of flowers throughout the growing season, they too need the food. So one way is the compost, right? It's a great way to naturally amend your soil and to feed your plants, is to give them that compost. And then the other way, of course, is fertilizer. There's you can go the synthetic route, you can go the organic route. There's different ways that you can go. Whichever way you go, I personally probably would recommend that you stick with the like the slow release, the organic way, because you're going to reduce the risk of you burning your plants, because we don't want to burn the plants. We don't want to kill the plants by giving them too much of that synthetic fertilizer, because that can happen, right? So what I have always used in the past, of course, is the Espoma Rose Tone. So this is that great slow release fertilizer for both, I mean, obviously it's for your roses. Ironically enough, it's also good for your hydrangeas. So my little hydrangeas down there, I use Rose Tone on those as well. That comes from the recommendation of our friends at Spring Meadow Nursery, who is the home of the Proven Winners hydrangeas. So Rose Tone. Now, follow the directions on whatever the container says. So on the back of the Espoma bag, it goes in and it tells you exactly how to do it, from new plantings to established plantings to those in pots. Mine are all going to be considered established plants, and so it says apply monthly from the beginning of the growing season to the middle of September. So we're in the growing season because it's got, you know, that new foliage is flushing out. For a single plant, we're going to apply 1 1/4 cups of Rose Tone around each one. So I grab, I have this little, I don't know, it's a Ziploc food container, but it's a 2 cup. I like it because it's nice and rigid and I can really scoop down in there. So it has a marking on the side somewhere right here. This is a cup, so I need a smidge more than that for 1 1/4 cups. So all you got to do is just scoop it and shake it, right? So we're just going to shake it all around the plant. Don't just center right around the crown of the plant. Go around the plant. Think of the drip line, right? We call that the drip line, which is where the outside of the plant, thinking where the roots are going, right? So shake it around in there. If you can take a rake it in, that's even better. And then I have my water hose and I'm going to water it in. One, it helps with the odor because the tones are quite, they're quite stinky. So that'll help tamp down the odor. And then also it starts to work it down into the soil and starts feeding the plants. So we're gonna do that. Then I am also going to, I think I'm going to do this on the climbing rose, the Generous Gardener. So last year, one of you sweet people recommended to me to try alfalfa meal. And I'm like, what? Do tell. So I actually bought this last year and I never used it. Life just was lifing and I never got it put out. So this is alfalfa meal. It is a natural fertilizer. It is OMRI listed. OMRI means like the organic certification. The brand is Down to Earth. They have a whole line of fertilizers. And so the alfalfa meal, this is your 201. Those are your ratios in your fertilizer. And then on the back, it tells you how to do it. So you can use this basically from anything. So it says that alfalfa meal is a great source of plant-derived nutrients, highly recommended for roses as well as other vegetables, herbs, flowers, and shrubs. It is derived from sun-cured, non-genetically modified alfalfa that is freshly milled to preserve the highest plant nutrient value. So basically, it's the exact same directions for my roses. So that is what I'm going to do, and I'm just putting it to the test to see if I can see any kind of difference between the alfalfa meal and the Rose Tone. I know it's apples to oranges because we're talking about shrub roses versus a climber, but still, I'm just going to go ahead and try it. So that is what I'm going to do. Get this shaken out, get them watered in, and then let's talk about fungicide because it's another important thing in maintaining the health of your roses. My friends, we have gotten all of the roses here around the patio. They have been fertilized. Now, full disclosure, I went to go do the Generous Gardener first and I was using the alfalfa meal and I was like, oh my gosh, 1, this does not stink. 2, if it has an odor, it smells like sweet alfalfa. If you're a country person or you're familiar with like alfalfa hay, oftentimes like horses will eat it, livestock eats it. It has a very sweet smell to it. And that is what the alfalfa meal smells like. I know it's like pretty obvious, right? So it smells so good / doesn't stink. And so I just went ahead and did all the roses with the alfalfa meal. I didn't use any Rose Tone today. Also, personal note, I have an appointment this afternoon that I have to go to, and I knew I was going to fertilize with the Rose Tone. I was like, well, I guess I'll just have to take a shower before I go. So now I don't have to take a shower because I don't smell like the tones. So yeah, all of the roses back here on the back got fertilized with the alfalfa meal. And then once you go ahead and fertilize, of course, you want to water it in really well. So I think you can see like at the base of the Generous Gardener here, where I watered it in. Where there was mulch, like this has nice thick mulch right here, I pulled that mulch back and then just worked the alfalfa meal into the soil, put the mulch back, and then watered it really well. So yeah, so they got done, and then you can see like right here, Rudolph Doll got done. I did go ahead and do the Poet's Wife, and then all of the roses back there on the patio. They got done as well. So bottom line, no matter what fertilizer you choose to use with your roses, whether it is rose tone, alfalfa meal, whatever your beloved fertilizer of choice is, feed the plants, right? As another side note, the alfalfa meal, you feed it once now when buds are beginning to appear, right? So we've got that. And then like the leaf buds, and then you fertilize it again when the roses are flowering, and then you fertilize it, I think, one more time. So that's 3 applications of the fertilizer, as opposed to the rose tone, it's every month. So I can do 3 times a season. Sometimes even ask me to do once a month. It's just like, oh, that's just asking too much of me. But anyway, okay, so let's talk about fungicides. So why do we need a fungicide? So a fungicide is obviously going to help prevent a fungus from taking hold of your roses. Specifically, we're talking about today. The 2 main funguses that I deal with are powdery mildew and black spot. Now, prevention is key, right? So you've got to get ahead of it, because once you see all the effects of it, it's almost, quote, too late for that season. The good news is that powdery mildew and the black spot are not going to kill the plant. Over time though, they will weaken the plant. Obviously, it makes it not look very healthy. We want nice, dark green, healthy, beautiful foliage, not the powdery mildew that has that kind of that white fuzzy coating almost. And then of course your black spot is literally black spots on the leaves, and then they turn yellow and then they will fall off. I do deal with more of black spot than powdery mildew, especially on the Generous Gardener. It's so interesting. So let me just kind of turn the camera around here for you. As you can see, there are 2 separate roses, one on each side of the arbor here. This one does not really get the black spot very much. It is that one. And I'm wondering if it's because it is on the side of the forest pansy, and this maybe gets more sun than the other side does. That's the only thing I can think of. And even with them being so close to each other, this one has not infected this one. So prevention is absolutely critical. And so in the past, I have not done any kind of prevention for it, other than trying to fertilize and keep good consistent water on it and that kind of thing. Obviously, if you're feeding your plants and they're not under stress, then that certainly helps the plant fight off any kind of fungus that is going to attack it. Now, what do we use? So basically you need a good fungicide, and this is going to, as soon as the leaves begin to appear, that's when you need to start the application. I personally am not going to do it today, simply I don't have time, so I'll have to do it on another day. So let's talk about, right, so here we are at the Generous Gardener, and you can see all that beautiful foliage right there, right? That nice, pretty burgundy foliage is popping out. So this is when we want to go ahead and begin that application of the fungicide. You will notice it really starting to take hold if you get powdery mildew or black spot in the heat and the humidity of the summer. What I am going to be using this year is the Fertilome. I like Fertilome products. They just are great. They work really well. This is that liquid systemic fungicide 2, ready to spray. So it prevents and controls major diseases on roses, flowers, lawns, trees, and shrubs. Now, you'll notice that I have a Garden Gate magazine right here beside of me, because I just got this, I think just maybe last week. And right here, why powdery mildew takes hold and how to stop it. So there's a great article in there that explains kind of that life cycle of powdery mildew and how to prevent it. And as I'm saying, their thing is prevention, and you want to use that fungicide. Now, you will follow whatever the directions say for whatever fungicide you're going to use. And so you can go to your local garden center, you could look online, you could do, you can order from us, whatever it is that you want to do, but follow the directions. So right here, obviously I'm worried about the roses. It will prevent powdery mildew and black spot. So for the powdery mildew, we are going to begin application at the begin of bud break. So that's right now. Treat every 10 days. Ooh, that's going to be hard for Jenny, but I'm going to do it. And so for the powdery mildew, it's 1 tablespoon of the fungicide for every gallon of water. Black spot is 2 tablespoons per gallon of water. So what I will be doing is we have like a backpack sprayer that is dedicated just to safe products to use. So like those fungicides, those things like that, anything that is not like an herbicide. So we have a separate sprayer for that. So I will mix it up and I will go through and I will spray. And as much as I can and as often as I can remember to do it, then I will do it, because we want to break that life cycle of that powdery mildew and the black spot. And so another great thing to do is prevention is to remove all of those leaves at the bottom of those roses, because your powdery mildew, black spot, they will overwinter. Because if you think, oh, well, I live in cold areas and it'll kill it in the wintertime. No, the little spores are very cold tolerant. And so you want to get all those leaves up, get them out, because that's going to harbor that fungus over the winter. So get that out, clean it up. That's another key point in that fall cleanup. Let's get those leaves out. If you've dealt with powdery mildew or black spot, you need to get rid of those leaves. And then in the spring, come back with your fungicide and use it to the best of your ability on those days, right? So, all right, my friends, I feel very accomplished. As soon as my bare roots from David Austin arrive, of course, I will bring you along for the ride, because we have got the Rual Dahl that's going back here. We've got 6 of those. I still have to move 1 more rose by the on the patio that's going to go into the new beds, so it's not ready yet. So she'll get moved. Emily Bronte is getting moved. And then I bought a red climber for the chicken coop. So excited. All of those are bare roots. I order all of mine straight from David Austin. It's just much easier. So if people ask all the time, it's like, do y'all sell David Austin's? We don't. I just send you straight to David Austin's website, and because they have the biggest selection, and you can get them either as bare root or you can get them as potted plants. So anyway, it's been a beautiful day out here in the rose garden, even if there are no roses yet. It's been a beautiful day, productive day. Hope you found this fun, informative. Y'all have a great day. See you in the next video. Bye, friends.